It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video. So this is going to be my things you may have missed and Easter eggs for episode 11 of season 7, which was called Pastels and Calamities. At the beginning, when Dwight is noticing that Daryl is missing and that he has escaped, we see these trucks approaching the sanctuary, and if you take a look, you can see that Negan is actually in the truck. The next thing, when we have Lara taking Eugene to his room, there's this one specific shot that you see this radio. Now, for comic readers, you know the significance of the radio in the future. Not that it's the exact same radio, but you know the significance of the radio when we look at Eugene's future storyline. So I thought that was a cool Easter egg that they put in there for us to catch. Then, of course, when we have Eugene talking to Lara, Laura has a nickname for Eugene, which is Haircut. And if you remember in season 7, episode 8, when Lara was talking to Spencer, we had Eugene watching and we had Lara saying, "Do you like watching Haircut?" So it looks like Lara has kept her nickname for Eugene, which is pretty cool. So the next thing, the room that was given to Eugene is actually the exact same room that Negan was going to give Daryl. So if you go back to episode 3, The Cell, at the end of that episode, when Negan asks Daryl, "Who are you?" they're actually in the exact same room, and Negan intended to give Daryl this room if he did in fact say, "I am Negan," which he didn't. So that's a cool connection here as well. When Dwight is put in a cell, it's actually Daryl's cell. So Negan put Dwight in the exact cell that Daryl was in. So in a way, Dwight is now on the other side of things. So previously, he was on the other side of the door, kind of messing around with Daryl. Now Negan is on the other side messing around with Dwight. Then we have this shot here where Dwight is looking at this pack of cigarettes. There are 2 cigarettes in there. There's one with a lipstick on it, which is probably Sherry's, and then another one. So it's like a symbolism that's going on because only one of those made it out. So Dwight actually took the cigarette with no lipstick on it, which is basically a symbol of Dwight. The one with the lipstick is basically symbolizing Sherry. So in a way, 2 cigarettes, only one made it out, and the one that made it out was the one with no lipstick, which means it was Dwight, which actually foreshadows what happened after, because when Dwight was telling Negan about what happened, he said that Sherry didn't make it. So they were both there, Dwight and Sherry didn't make it. So just like here, it foreshadowed what Dwight is gonna say to Negan, which is pretty cool. Then that one shot where we have Eugene staring into the eyes of this redhead at the sanctuary. Some people were confused about what this was. I was as well, but I looked at it again and you can actually see that this redhead actually steals something. That's why Eugene is kind of looking at him. It's going to be interesting to see if that comes into play in the future or not. The next thing is that this redhead is actually the exact same one that we saw in the intro of season 7 episode 3, The Cell. So in that episode, in the intro, we had the father of this person here being beat up, most likely beat to death, and it's actually the same person that we saw Dwight taking pickles from back in that episode as well, which is the cool connection as well, because of course in this episode, season 7 episode 11, we have Eugene eating pickles, which is cool how that all came together. The next thing, where Lara is actually giving Eugene the pickles, there's some peanuts in there that you see in the background, and that actually matches one of the promotional images that was released a couple months back, so it's pretty cool. Then right before Eugene and Negan meet up again in this episode, the first time, we have Negan saying Simon can go to Alexandria to play the good cop. So basically this is where Negan tells someone that Simon can go to Alexandria to look for Daryl. That's actually connecting to what was happening in season 7 episode 9 when we heard Negan on the radio. So the timeline matches exactly in this moment. So right here, right before Negan and Eugene talk, it's the exact same time that Rick and the others are getting the dynamite, if you remember in season 7 episode 9. But what's cool is that Simon didn't really play the good cop, because he went to Alexandria and messed everything up and threatened Rick. So if that's good cop, I don't know what bad cop to Negan is, but it's pretty cool. Then of course, when we have Eugene telling Negan about what he did, it's actually the exact same thing he told Michonne, Abraham, Glenn, Maggie, and the others in the season 5 premiere, saying something along the lines of fighting fire with fire, which is a cool callback. Now, I don't know if he's actually serious or not, because of course back then he was just making it up. So I don't know if he's making it up when he's talking to Negan or if he's actually being serious. The next thing, Eugene's molten metal walker idea is actually a callback to two different things. One, the walker with the molten metal around its head that Eugene was fighting off, who ended up almost killing him, but then of course Abraham saved him. So it's a callback to that, but also a callback to the walker that we just saw, Winslow, from the Junkyard Community. So that's a cool callback as well. And then the next thing, after Eugene talks to Negan and he's about to go, we have him smiling or cracking a smile. Now, there's two possibilities. The first one is that he's smiling because he's got a master plan and that there's something going on that nobody knows about because he lied and he wasn't caught, or he's smiling because he survived. He didn't get beat up by Negan. So there are two possibilities there, but there is a smile. So Eugene does smile. It's very quick, but he does smile. The next thing, of course, with the cigarette, I just said this before, the cigarette with the lipstick on it, it's actually Sherry's. We have Dwight leaving the pretzels and the beer for Sherry before he left. So that's basically telling me that if Sherry was there, Dwight would have left with her and that he would attempt to escape again, to run away from the Saviors and Negan again. And this basically connects to what Sherry said in the letter as well, saying that if you come back, bring pretzels and beer. So that's cool as well. The next thing, which is a pretty cool one, now I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when Eugene is in the line, there's someone in line that looks exactly like Glenn. So there's a Glenn lookalike at the sanctuary. So conspiracy right here. What if Glenn didn't die? What if he's at the sanctuary? I'm just kidding. But it's a cool catch that there's a Glenn lookalike at the sanctuary. So next we have Eugene making the pill, and with the music and everything and the way it's edited and the way Eugene looks, it's a nod or an homage to Breaking Bad and Walter White, which is cool. For those of you who missed it, Dwight actually set up the doctor. So he took a part of the note that Sherry left for him, put it in the doctor's office, and framed him so that Negan would think that the doctor and Sherry had something going on and that the doctor helped Daryl escape for Sherry, helped Sherry escape, and then he was about to go as well. So Dwight basically framed the doctor so that both him and Sherry would be protected. So then when Negan actually throws the doctor into the fire and burns him alive, he says, "Good thing we have a spare doctor, Carson." Now, when he says this, he's looking directly at Eugene, and some people thought that he is actually talking about Eugene, thinking that Eugene is actually a medical doctor, but that's not the case. Negan is actually talking about the other doctor at the hilltop. So, as I've said before, the doctor at the hilltop is also Dr. Carson, and the Dr. Carson from the sanctuary that just died, and the Dr. Carson from the hilltop that is still alive and he's still there are actually brothers. So Negan is actually saying that we're just going to go to the hilltop and take the other doctor with us, which actually confirms my speculation that they were going to do this. If you watch my video about the synopsis of episode 13 to 15 being released, you actually do hear me talk about this. So this is basically confirming what I said there. The last thing, we have Dwight right before he leaves, and this is after the doctor is dead. He smiles a little, so he has this smirk on his face. So that leaves the possibility that the doctor actually did something to Dwight, and that's why he's smiling, because he's happy that the doctor is actually dead, or finally dead. And then we're gonna have to see if this comes into play later in the story as well, if we're gonna get a flashback or something like that. But it's a cool catch here as well. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for another video.